You go behind that building, you're like,
to know these things, so we have to also look at these things that we've done before, so we don't want to be overhydrated. Right?
Hello and welcome to Jersey. The semi-finals, we thought the conditions were bad yesterday. Bodies are bruised and we woke up this morning in just about the worst possible conditions for a triathlon. The wind gusting at about 50 to 60 miles an hour. But the top 15 men and women who have made it through the semi-finals are now set for the finals here of the first championship round of 7 here at Super League Triathlon. Jersey, for the third consecutive year, has turned on some interesting weather, and it's going to be changeable across the course of the next hour or so of racing for the women's final. My name is Will McCloy. Alongside me and fighting hypothermia is two-time Ironman world champion Chris McCormack and world number 3 Georgia Taylor-Brown, who yesterday said unfortunately she was injured. Today it's a fortunate injury. Macca, I'll start with you. Just a quick recap. I'd love to ask you, what's Super League Triathlon all about, and did you sign up for this?
I'm quitting. This was not what we signed up for, but it's just one of those things when you put on an event. Super League Triathlon's about bringing the best athletes in the world together, and we've done that. Conditions like this make things quite difficult. So the show must go on. The athletes, I had the opportunity to speak to the women and told them about the course changes. They were very, very relieved and still excited to race.
All right, the changes only happened in the last 20 minutes or so. We want to put on the race that we signed up to do, the enduro, which is a swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run. We'll now be missing the bike. The conditions, Mac, are just too dangerous.
Too dangerous in an Olympic year. It's so gusty. I'm sure the camera is showing how gusty it is. It's amazing. There's sections on the course where you could potentially get away with it, but it's just too dangerous with barriers falling over. And with an Olympic year coming up, we just don't need any of our stars crashing before an Olympic Games.
Georgia, we just saw your compatriot Vicky Holland run past into the wind. She was going at a waddle, and with the wind, she's going very fleet-footed. What do you think about the decision you made? I'm sure the athletes and yourself are relieved.
Yeah, she's still wearing a smile. I mean, in these situations, if you don't smile, you're just going to cry. So I think you just have to laugh about it. We have to get on with it. Everyone's in the same boat. They'll just deal with it. We dealt with it at Tokyo test event. We found at 4:30 in the morning it changed, so we just deal with it, and it's still a race. You get it done.
Here's the thing, though. To be Super League champion, you need to do the most brutal races with the most brutal formats and do it again and again, and this is what Super League is going to throw at us. We've got some fantastic athletes lining up in our women's final, and it will be a swim, run, swim, run, swim, run. I don't know who that plays into, but this is the points on offer. 15 for the winner, all the way down to 1. So if you've made it through the semi-finals yesterday, you're going to pick up at least 1 championship point. Also, the winner of this round will pick up $20,000 US, but most importantly is those championship points, Macca.
Question, and all the women, or actually all the athletes racing are chasing championship points for the end of the season, and it's very, very important for them. With these conditions, either with the with the changes to the format without the bike, are still going to play havoc. This run is very, very difficult with a very strong headwind, and it's anyone's race to win.
Let's have a quick look back at yesterday, and it was Vincent Lewis and Hayden Wild who, in the men's racing, were just about unbeatable. Georgia, we know Vincent can do that, but Hayden was special in his semi-final.
Yeah, and I think Hayden actually had a quicker race yesterday as well, and he was out front on his own, and it was really impressive what he did. So Hayden is not as strong as swimmer, but he's a really strong runner. I think it'd be good that there's no bike today, but he'll still get out that swim as hard as he can, and he'll be in it.
Macca, you and me were at lunch with Vincent Lewis before, and I said, what do you think of the fact that Hayden was 30 seconds faster than you? He goes, I have so much more left in the tank.
Yeah, I was cruising, he said. Which just epitomises everything Vincent is. He's such a tactician. He watches everything that's going on, and he was aware of Hayden's performance yesterday. But with this eliminator format happening from the back, in the enduro with 3 times through, eliminations are happening after every single discipline. I think he believes that Hayden Wild may find himself in some difficulty after one of those swims.
And he certainly put everything into it yesterday. What about Georgia, the Cassandra Bova-Grant versus Katie Zafiris battle? They were both in the same semi-final. Cassandra had the best of it. There was that one changeover the last time when they came in off the bike and onto the run. That's when Cassandra really put the hammer down and she couldn't be caught.
Yeah, I guess obviously transitions are still important, but maybe not as important today. But I think the women's race is going to be really close. They're all swim runners, especially, so I think it's going to be really close today, and we might find ourselves a new interesting winner.
Who is going to hurt? Rachel Klammer was the winner of semi-final, but she never won a Super League race before. She really enjoyed that last 800 metres or so. She could be one athlete who might find the going a little bit tough today, but good to see her get a win in yesterday.
Yeah, I think as long as Rachel stays there on the swim, if she's out there with them when they get onto the run, she's going to be a stiff competition to beat today. But yeah, I was definitely impressed with Rachel yesterday. She seemed like she was holding a lot back. She was just taking in the crowds and enjoying the whole experience.
I thought it was tough conditions yesterday, but now looking at that on the screen, it looks like we could go there for a beach holiday. It's a little bit different today. We're going to have a look at the start list as we nearly get blown away for the women's final. And once again, it is an aquathon, essentially. An aquathon enduro. Swim, run, swim, run, swim, run. Look at those names. And also the word short shoot sitting there. If you won a heat yesterday, as did Cassandra Bogrant and Rachel Klammer, you get that little advantage, probably about a 3-second advantage on one of the runs, a shortcut.
Oh, it's a shortcut that could win this event. What's very, very difficult about today's conditions is this whole finish straight. So this finish straight's in a stiff headwind. That's when you'll be able to take that short shoot with a sprint to the finish. I think the athlete's going to take that on that last lap and use that tailwind to the finish line. It could be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
You know what? We know what the best part of this first bit is, so we get to go to the commentary box in a minute.
Oh, it'll be warmer there.
You know who doesn't? Joe Ankia. We've sent Jo Ankia down to the pontoon. She'll be out on course all day long in these conditions, and she's found Megan Foley.
Thank you. We're going to be enjoying it out here. I have Megan Foley with me right now, who wasn't well yesterday, had to unfortunately drop out. Probably quite glad today. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I was told that jumping in that water might be a good way to break a fever, so I thought I'd test it out and see. But yeah, not my day. Today is definitely going to be tough conditions, but it's always hard to not race.
Okay, and of course the big news today is that there's no biking for the women. Now, your fellow countrywoman, Katie Zafiris, she got beaten yesterday by Cassandra. How do you think she'll fare over the swimming and the running legs of this course?
You know, it's really going to change the game without the bike. Cassandra is definitely dangerous over a short swim, and her run is obviously amazing. But Katie's one of the toughest, mentally toughest athletes I've ever met, so this might just be her day.
And of course, you at least got to try out the course yesterday. What did you notice in terms of anything else that's tricky? Where, for example, do you think Katie might be able to catch up? She also won't have the short shoot.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. Cassandra definitely has that advantage. I think she's just going to have to keep her head down and be tactically smart throughout the course, and best of luck to everyone out there racing today.
And how do you think the wind might affect the tactical decisions that the athletes make today?
Oh, it's hard to say. There's definitely some areas of the course that you really have that wind coming into play, and then other areas where you'll have a tailwind. So I think you might see some special moves coming in where there's a headwind, where there's a tailwind, and then of course coming up that ramp out of the swim is a key area of the race as well.
Coming up that ramp out of the swim, that is something that hasn't been talked about enough. And again today with this wind, is that the kind of area where some athletes might actually use it to their advantage?
I definitely think so. I think that's going to be a key area that we'll see athletes make moves today. and not only going up it but also running down. It's really hard on the legs after you've done the run course to then go slamming on a downhill. So it should be interesting to watch.
And they'll have to do that a fair few times today. Well, thank you so much, Megan. You go get warm, and we'll see you in a short while.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Joe. The conditions continuing to deteriorate up here in transition, but we're seeing some shots before of the locals here in Jersey who they would come out in a typhoon, would they not?
Well, they're all coming out. They're saying the wind's not that bad. It's only a gale force 7. Well, I've never seen anything like it. It's the people here in Jersey are remarkable. They love Super League coming to the island, and they'll turn up in their droves.
Before Henry Schumann blows away, we're going to introduce him into the chat. Henry injured and obviously second overall in our championship last year, and today's a good day to not be racing, Henry.
I would actually prefer racing, especially now that the course has changed with it being a swim run. So it's going to play into the hands of the swimmer, and of course I'd love to be racing rather.
How do you think your main title rival Vincent Lewis does in these conditions? He's got a great swim on him, and if anything, that plays into his hands. Is there anything honestly that doesn't play into his hands?
Not really. I think he's got all the strengths out there, and it's definitely going to play into his hands. I think Hayden's going to have a tough time sticking to his feet, especially in the water. So he'll have to be using his run to try and keep as close to Vincent Louis as possible. We might even see him use his short shoot a little bit earlier to try and get advantage getting into the water ahead of him. So it will be quite tactical out there.
Absolutely. Well, we're hoping that the men will still be able to get on their bikes if this wind does die down. That's at 4 o'clock British summertime. Not too long now. It's going to be 2:20, so in about 25 minutes that we're going to see the women start. So it's a 10-minute delay. There have been plenty of little moments already, even in the conditions yesterday, especially out on the bike, as we saw a few little, that's Taylor Spivey and Yuko Takahashi. We'll see Ali Beto as well have problems on the bike, Macca.
Oh, and they would have had huge problems today, but yesterday we saw that was the big crash we saw right there. It was, and that really put Leonie Perrier out of the race. She really would have loved these changing conditions because she swam and ran spectacularly yesterday. But interesting, I thought Rachel Clemmer did most of the damage yesterday by being very technical on the bike. What will that play today? Will she be able to? She's not going to be able to use that bike because it's gone. Will she be as close to the front as she was yesterday? That's a big question.
We saw Emma Jeffcoat there leading and then forgetting to take a foot out of the shoe and getting stuck just before the dismount line. That's how quickly things can happen. Now, Emma Jeffcoat, interestingly, they all got to choose their pontoon positions based upon their finishing position yesterday. Everyone went on the inside of the pontoon except for Emma Jeffcoat, who decided to put herself in pontoon position number 15. What do you think of that? Because it is longer to the buoy, Henry.
It definitely is longer. I think she's really going to try use her swim strength to have some clear water, get out there. Hopefully she'll come around on the outside. But the inside line is definitely the shortest and the quickest. We've seen that in yesterday's racing.
All right, can I get predictions from both of you? We've got about a minute before we head back down to Joe. How do you think this one's going to play out now that it is a swim run? What do you think, Henry?
I think for the women's, it's going to be Beaugrand. For the men's, I think it's going to be Lewis.
That's a French domination, according to Henry. What do you think, Macca?
I'm going to go with Cassandra. What's going to be interesting is when they come off this hot corner here and they march down this straight, I think you'll see the women line up. Someone as strength of Katie Zaferis, everyone could line up behind her, use this tailwind. I just think Cassandra's long legs and a loping run stride's going to win this event. On the men's side, you can never go past Vincent Lewis. I think this suits him even more than adding the bike.
Okay, so everyone thinks the French are going to dominate today. We'll see if that is indeed the case. And right now we'll head back down to Joe. She's with Graham Atchison.
Yes, I've got our analyst, Graham Atchison, with us, who's been working rather hard because you were crunching the numbers last night and now it's all changed.
Yes, exactly. With the news that the bike's been cancelled, I just tried to quickly rerun it, and it's advantage Beaugrand now. Relatively speaking, I mean, these guys are all phenomenal athletes, but relatively speaking, Zafira's strength with her bike. So to remove that, and with Beaugrand having the short shoot, Katie's day's got a lot harder.
Okay, so the world champion is going to be under quite a lot of pressure, and with the short shoot as well. It's quite hard to predict, I suppose, with these wins, but how much do you think there could be in it?
I mean, I think I had about 10 seconds in it, so it's going to be a tight race whichever way it goes, I think.
Now, removing the bike section, of course, it does obviously remove a lot of the unpredictability factor, doesn't it? So with the swimming and the running, is it very likely that you think that the predictions will go to plan?
I think on a day like this, it's going to be very unpredictable. So I don't particularly want to stick my neck out. I think today the conditions mean that the athlete with the most grit and determination is going to get across the line first.
Okay, now let's look at the other athletes down the course. Of course, Rachel Clemmer had a fantastic day yesterday. Any other athletes that may be strong over the swimming and the running?
I liked the look of Clamor yesterday as well. I thought she came around the course, she looked very comfortable, she was grinning when she came down the finish line, so she was my pick for third actually. I reckon Olivia Matthias, I think the British girl yesterday, she came from nowhere, she's an SLT newbie, she has never raced it before, and so I think she could be good for it as well.
Okay, and Cassandra and Katie will be starting next to each other today. That made quite a lot of difference yesterday. They'll probably be working together a little bit, you'd imagine, because of the winds. How do you expect that to play out?
Yeah, I think Zafirius lost it on the first swim yesterday with her pontoon choice. She chose number 13, which was right at the end, and Cassandra went for number 1. I think that affected the race quite a lot. So being right next to each other, I think Katie's going to mark her.
Okay, thank you so much, Graham. Excellent insight there. We'll see how the winds play into it. Back to you.
Very hard to get the data to tell the story here because we've got an absolute gale blowing here in Jersey. St Helier has just about been blown away, but there are still plenty of Jersey locals out here ready for the countdown to the women's final. An aquathon swim run, swim run, swim run. Not too long now until we get things underway. Cannot wait for that. Very soon, the women's Super League final from St Helier. Hello and welcome to St Helier in Jersey in the Channel Islands, just 5 miles off the coast of Normandy, France. And today some very, very challenging conditions, 50 to 60 mile an hour winds. And our finalists after the semi-finals yesterday in the first round of the championship are bracing themselves for tough conditions and some tough racing. And that is what Super League Triathlon is absolutely all about. All on the line for our top 15, and it is time to get down to business. Takahashi, who has fallen over. Cassandra Beaugrand, congratulations to her. Vincent Lewis is our semi-final A winner, and we are in for semi-final B. Oh, he lost the front. Perio had nowhere to go. Rachel Clamor, she's done it. It's the Falcon wings, and everybody loves it. Hello and welcome to St Helier in Jersey. My name was Will McCloy, and alongside me, and trying not to get blown away by this win, two-time Hawaii Ironman world champion Chris McCormack and world number 3 Georgia Taylor-Brown. Macca, I'll start with you. I want to get the top line, if you like, the big picture on what Super League Triathlon is all about, and bracing with these conditions, that's a little bit of what it's all about.
Well, without question, Super League Triathlon's about bringing the world's best athletes together to race, and unfortunately conditions like this make us make changes. I sat in with the women today and told them about the course changes, eliminating the bike because of the conditions, and they were more fearful that they weren't going to get the opportunity to race. So that just says a lot about the athletes we're dealing with. They're the best in the world, and the show will go on.
Yeah, just to update you there, it is the enduro today. It's meant to be a swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run. There is no bike. It is simply too dangerous out there, so the call has been made. It will be an aquathon, swim, run, swim, run, swim, run, and it is for those championship points. Georgia, I know you'd love to compete, but for me, looking at this, maybe it's not a bad day to stay inside.
Yeah, I still will always rather be on the other side, and I'd rather be competing, but yeah, I just said to the girls before today, just stay safe out there, don't take too many risks, just enjoy it.
There's a good British contingent out there in the final. We had our semi-finals yesterday, eliminated a host of great athletes, so that the cream of the crop have come through. We've got 2018 world champ Vicky Holland, who's having a much better outing. Sophie Colwell, who's our quicker swimmer. They'll be leading the British charge, and there's a host of other good athletes as well.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting today now they've taken that bike out. I think a lot of the girls in the race are definitely swim runners, so it's going to be a really close race, and it's just going to be who deals with these conditions the best.
That's absolutely right. In a swim run, it's very interesting. We'll look back at semi-final A, and after the slot draw randomly put the athletes in 2 different semi-finals, our top 2, or the 2 we're really keeping an eye on, Cassandra Beaugrand and Katie Zafiris, were in both that heat, and the cream rose to the top, if you like. But on the last run, Cassandra Beaugrand, who was our best runner, there's no doubt about it, she accelerated away and she earns the short shoot for today.
And she's our best transition athlete from yesterday's performance. She won the grey transitions jersey, which meant she was quickest through transition. But she set that race up in that first swim, and that may play in today's racing. Katie's opted to come a lot closer to her in today's swim, but it was a remarkable race yesterday. She set off the front and was never really
down.
So that was the transition there where Beaugrand, who was in slot position 1, had less time to run with her bike, and that's when she really put the hammer down. And you'd be hard to bet against either Cassandra or Katie today. It's almost perhaps a race in 2, although Rachel Clammer, will see her in a minute, was great as well. But Cassandra and Katie, the two of them on screen, they look like, again, the gold standard in Super League racing in the women's.
Yeah, they are. I guess they are quite far ahead of the field, but obviously Rachel didn't get a chance to race them yesterday, so that's going to happen today. And I think it will be interesting to see how Rachel fares against them. Obviously, Rachel's not as good a swimmer as Katie and Cassandra, but I think she's going to stick in there and she'll definitely be there coming back off the run.
Yeah, Katie Zafira, she does seem to be able to run. Like, it could be snowing and raining sideways and she seems to have the same run. She doesn't look like she accelerates. Other people just look to drop off her, but if anyone's going to stay with her, it is Beaugrand, who is by far our quickest runner in Super League. She just looks like she's not even trying.
Yeah, it's a long leg. She just looks so relaxed. She's even in a gait, and with the big tailwind along the straight today, I think it plays a lot into her favour. But one of the athletes I did think yesterday that was really good on that swim run section was Vicky Holland, last year's world champion. I thought it's one of her best Super League performances, and I believe today these conditions she'd revel in it. She's as tough as nails, and she's one to look out for.
We can see the athletes setting up in the transition area. Of course, they've only had a few minutes to get their head around the fact that they won't be riding. Although they are relieved, it is hard to make those last-minute changes. We're going to see in a second Rachel Clammer winning in the second semi-final, and it looked like she really enjoyed herself out there. A little bit like Hayden Wild in the men's, did the work early on in the race and then just victory lapped her way home. And that's good from Rachel, who's never won a Super League race. Granted, it is a semi-final, but she won in a dominant fashion.
Yeah, I think definitely you just have to enjoy it sometimes. And Rachel had such a lead as well, and Hayden also. So I think you just have to take in the crowds and enjoy the whole experience sometimes. And obviously today it's a little bit more serious. It's down to the final, so there'll be more focus. But I think no matter what, we all enjoy this.
We saw that big crash there from Elite Beto, and that held Leonie Perriot up, who's one of our contracted athletes, and she was eliminated yesterday. That was the only big moment, I suppose, although there are a couple of others as well on the bike, because we did have gusty conditions.
I think one of the big moments also was Emma Jeffcoat, who rode that whole bike leg with a flat tyre, if you recall. She was out of the water quick. She was able to nurse herself through the bike ride, which is full kudos to her because it's a very technical, tough course, and she was able to qualify for today's final. I spoke to her in the locker room. She's actually a little bit excited about this swim run format.
Well, she would be. She was a blue jersey holder last year as being the quickest swimmer. So the fact that the swim is going to come so much more into this, position-wise, is going to play into her hands. Who else do you think will enjoy these conditions, Georgia? Except for yourself, obviously. You look like you're enjoying them very much.
Yeah, I love it out here. No, Katie's definitely going to enjoy this. I think Sophie, Vicky, obviously they're just really tough girls and they can have fun with it, and that's all that matters really. I think as long as they're enjoying it today, they're just going to get out there and have fun with what they're doing, and all the girls are in the same boat. They've all got to deal with these conditions.
I'm just having a look down through transition right now, and the crowd is jam-packed down there. I cannot believe, as an Australian, if there's one drop of rain, we're just going to watch it at home on TV, but the Jersey breed, they're a different breed, Macca.
Well, in Australia, if rain drops, the show stops. It's a completely different group of people here, though. I was walking out when we came here to the studio, and it was people are coming with their umbrellas. They're psyched. This is the biggest event on the island for the year, and they're not going to miss it for the world.
Putting the sun cream on and getting out amongst it here in Jersey. Let's have a look at the start list for the women's final, and each of these athletes has a chance at walking home today with $20,000 and the maximum amount of championship points. As a winner of semi-final A, Cassandra Beaugrand takes the short shoot. She was the quickest overall, and Rachel Clammer from B takes the short shoot as well. Katie Zafiris was in A, and she was the second quickest time. Good work from Sandra Daudet, our qualifier from Bali, who is the fourth quickest, from Vicky Holland, the 2018 world champion, and our super swimmer holds the top 4 swim times in Jersey ever, Sophie Colwell, again from Taylor Spivey. Olivia Matthias I'll get your thoughts on her now, Georgia, as well, a young athlete based in Loughborough from the UK. She was so nervous yesterday before racing and came out and put herself in a final.
Yeah, Liv gets very nervous before races. You just have to guide her and make sure she's doing the right things. But she absolutely loved it, and afterwards she was definitely excited to get into the final. But she's an incredible swimmer. She's super strong on the bike, and her running's just going to get better. But no, I think she's definitely going to mix with the girls today, and she enjoys being in all these senior hyped up races.
Well, it's a big moment for her on the world stage here in front of the world, racing in what is very, very difficult conditions. We're going to head back down to Jo right now, and she's with Henry Schumann.
Yes, I'm very happy to have Henry with me, who's going to be braving the course with me today. Now, Henry, these athletes, they're all just walking around transition at the moment, very brave today, but how does it affect the mentality, the psychology, when your race formats change, the times push back, and so on?
It's a very difficult situation, but you know, the women, they are professionals and they've been through similar situations like this before, where they have had to change the course and the format. So they'll just be thinking about staying calm, focusing on what needs to be done. Right now it's quite cold, so they'll be thinking about staying warm, making sure they're warm before they jump in that water.
How much do you enjoy a race like this? Because it sort of blows everything out of the water, so to speak, and makes things fun, but it's also good practice and it's part of triathlon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's part of it all. They're all in the same boat, and you know, it makes some memories. So they'll definitely think about this for time to come.
Okay, now you got all 4 blue jerseys last year. Now let's talk about how the wind might affect the swimming and the running, because I come from a background of running. I know how much it will affect that. But how will it affect, for example, the swimming legs?
The swimming looks pretty sheltered. It's not affected too much. The only thing I can think of is that the temperature has dropped a little bit, so they might feel that cold a little bit more. On the running, I think the smaller athletes might struggle a little bit more. We can see Dode, Klammer, maybe Spavi. We'll struggle a little bit in the wind, but the bigger athletes, maybe like Zavaris, they might handle it a little bit better. So it will definitely be a race to see what happens.
And Zavaris, she is so strong mentally and physically. As much as it is Cassandra's favourite event, the run, Katie, you know, might just pull through because of that inner strength.
Yeah, it's going to be strength versus speed, and Bogran has that speed. I think she's a very strong swimmer as well, so it's going to be a very tight duel between the two.
It's certainly going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Back to you guys.
Thanks very much. Good to get the insights of Henry Schumann, of course, a fantastic swimmer. I'm just going to head over here and see if I can get a couple of athletes. Matt Houser's over here. Matt, I know you're upset not to be racing, but today's a good day not to be racing.
Oh, mate, it is. I feel for the guys out there, especially the girls as well, missing out on that bike, but they're going to make the most of it. They're going to go out there like champions like they are and give it their best shot. So, yeah, hopefully they all stay upright and go well.
Plenty of Australian fans wondering why you weren't out there on the start line. Talk us through the last few days.
Yeah, unfortunately, after playing from Brisbane, I had a bit of a chest infection and trialled it out in the water in the swim. I just couldn't get hard and couldn't go hard or anything like that in the 100 metres. So anyway, we'll see.
Bit touch and go. Are you going to be back from Malta? It's 3 weeks till then.
I'll be back. Yeah.
You're mad, aren't you? I talked to you at lunchtime. You're upset about this.
Clenching the fist, mate. It's fuel in the belly. So I'll be back from Malta and try and shake things up for there.
All right, go back into the hospitality there, mate, and do your hair. We don't want you to get too windswept.
Well, mate. So yeah.
I have no doubt about that. I'll see if I can grab Summer Rappaport. Summer, if you don't mind just having a quick chat to us. A little bit of a neck injury, a niggle, and probably a good day not to race.
Yeah, you know, it hurts not to be on the course today, but sometimes your body has a different idea. So here we are.
Was that something you were carrying in or something that happened in the last few days?
No, I woke up yesterday morning. I woke up before my alarm. I almost screamed in pain trying to shift positions, and it was just no go. We got a little bit of mobility back, but not enough to be able to start and to be able to have a safe race.
Well, every single time I wake up in the morning, I scream in pain. That's just what my life is. Now, you've got a couple of country women out there that you'll be backing in, of course, in Katie Zafiris, Taylor Spivey as well. How do you think they're going to cope with not only the change to the aquathon, but also this gusting wind?
It'll be interesting to watch. I mean, I don't think I've ever been anywhere this windy before. So it'll be interesting to see how people manage it with an aquathlon. I'm not sure who even has aquathlon experience, so it'll be fun to watch how it shakes out.
It will be fun to watch, absolutely. Now, I'm not sure what your rehab looks like, but can we expect to see you back in Malta in a few weeks?
Yeah, I should be fine in a few days. I think that I would have been able to start today if it were the qualifiers today, but maybe still not at my best, but just bad luck. So I'll be back from all time. Looking forward to it. Super League's one of my favorite formats, and yeah.
We're looking forward to having you back. We now do aquathons as well. We do pretty much everything here. Enjoy.
Here we have a bike TT in Malta, so I guess it makes up for the aquathlon today.
Thank you very much, Summer, for your time. Get out of this win. Katie Zafiris, though, she is the American to beat. She is our reigning champion. She's had such a roller coaster over the last month or so. She had a big accident in the Tokyo test event and came back 2 weeks later and became world champion.
Broke my nose, got a couple stitches on my nose, got 23 stitches in my mouth, and then had just like impact to my shoulder and my leg. And that was about 16 days before our grand final, which I'd set myself up pretty well to be world champion. Except now doing this, and in the emotion of just crashing and everything, I was like, oh my gosh, did I just not only did I not qualify for the Olympics, which was a big goal, but now I might have just ruined my chances of being world champion. So to prepare myself physically and mentally for the Lausanne Grand Final was challenging, but luckily I know the face heals fast. I've tried it out a few times. So that I wasn't actually concerned about because you don't need your face to train. But I was more worried about my shoulder and my leg, which were scans were fine, except just a little bit. I went to go swim and I didn't really have much range of motion or anything. And then by the end of the week, I was training like normal. I was physically good to go. I felt confident in that way, but I was still just nervous because Lausanne was a technical course, and I just had to get my doubts, or not get them out of my mind. They were definitely there, but I guess kind of control them a bit and also be focused on my strengths and confidence. So I ended up doing really well in the grand final and ended up winning the world championship, which was a very good way to end that part of my season.
How does that title feel finally after you've gone 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and now you've got it in the bank? You come here as a world champion, and that must be good.
It's really cool. It's one of those titles that I really put on a pedestal of other people, and to achieve it myself is definitely something that for the rest of my life I'll be super proud of.
Such a humble champion, Katie Zafiris, and a true pleasure to sit down and talk to about her world championship. Let's have a look at the course. Of course, that green line is the bike. We won't be seeing that today, but it's about 120 metres out in the swim to the first buoy, and then a hard left-hand turn, about 70 across, and then back in. And they go up a very, very steep ramp there, which is that dotted line you can see before they turn around into transition. The run is the red line through transition and up what we call Thunder Alley before the left-hand turn. The turnaround, and then a nice technical bit up near the fan zone, which is that yellow box you can see there with the 2 hands up. I don't know how many people are braving the conditions there at the moment. The turn back around towards the marina is between some very tall buildings, so there's going to be a gusting wind through there and then back along the marina and into transition. That is the run. Of course, the bike is not going to be there, but there's a little bit of blue sky, Chris McCormack. Oh, it's gone. It was there and then it's gone.
It won't be there for long. There's storms coming in left, right and centre.
All right, our colour jerseys today were won yesterday. It's a bit of a king of the mountain type scenario in terms of a race within a race with points accumulated for our best splits in the first swim, bike and run. So they can be won in the swim and run today. At the moment from yesterday's racing, Sophie Colwell is our quickest swimmer. Katie Zafiris will be in the red for the run. Cassandra Beaugrand was the quickest through transition. And Luisa Baptista of Brazil is in the green with the fastest. Everyone else will be in yellow except for our youngest athlete in the field. We're down. It's nice now. Georgia and myself and Macca are in the commentary box. But Joe will be out there on the pontoon and braving the elements, trying to get some final thoughts from some of our athletes. Joe?
Indeed, these brave athletes are already lined up. They have just stripped down, getting ready, getting used to the conditions. It's slightly warmer out here now but obviously the wind is still there. Cassandra Beaugrand, who of course won semi-final yesterday. Cassandra, it's going to probably be something you enjoy today. Extra running, less biking. How are you feeling? Confident?
Yes.
Confident you can maybe make it a Beaugrand weekend?
I don't know.
We'll try our best. And alongside her, of course, Katie Zafiris, the world champion. Katie, you're a tough cookie. Are you looking forward to this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the wind definitely adds a part that is going to make it hurt more, but there's also a tailwind section, so you got to use that too.
Do you enjoy a race like this?
Yeah, I've never done a quathlon, so this was my first one.
Excellent. And then alongside her, Rachel Clammer, who also won yesterday, hoping to make a Clammer weekend out of it. I'll let the girls get ready as it's about a minute or so to go until the start of the race, and we'll let them get on with it. It's going to be an exciting round of 3 swims and 3 runs. Back to you.
Certainly is going to be exciting. Katie Zafiris never done an aquathlon before, so
it's the first one today. But that side of the pontoon has all the swim horsepower, and we saw yesterday Cassandra Beaugrand on that side set up her entire race. So it's definitely a quicker run to the swim buoy.
Let's have a look at the pontoon positions. Cassandra Beaugrand, Katie Zafiris next to each other. They were at opposite ends before. They're the only two that have ever won a day here in Jersey, so keep an eye out for them. Rachel Clammer, of course, won the semi-final B. Sandra Daudet is our qualifier, or one of our qualifiers has gotten through. Vicky Holland, Taylor Spivey, there's plenty of power there. But interesting that Emma Jeffcoat chose to be on the outside lane, which yesterday proved to be the slowest, because you can see on the left-hand side of your screen there, the buoy is closest to the inside. So Emma Jeffcoat is on the far side from that. But when you look at the swimmers here, maybe she's chosen to stay out of that congestion, Georgia, and just try and use her swim strength to go round.
Yeah, definitely. Emma is a super fast swimmer. She definitely gets out quite hard as well. You always see at the start of the races, she's out at the front. So I think she's probably picked the best line there today, and she knows that she's strong enough to get to that first buoy, and then she can go out the outside. Maybe a little bit extra swimming for her on the outside, but I think she'll deal with it well because she won't be held up in all the carnage around that first buoy.
She's got Moreira on her hip, and she thinks she can outswim Moreira over the first 50 metres and get that clear water and move across. I think it's a good choice for Emma.
Let's see if she can. They line up for the women's final. It's all on the line, and they are off. And look at Sophie Colwell in the middle. Always gets a fantastic start. She's already gets half a length on everybody.
Oh, she's the fastest off the start year on year, and we saw that yesterday again. And I think she's oh no, she's not. It's Beaugrand in the grey jersey, in the transition jersey, who again on that side is Gatlin.
And there is Jeffcoat at the bottom of the screen, who's trying to come across and get in a decent position. But Beaugrand, just as she did, has taken the lead in this one, and right on her hip is Colwell, and that is Baptista as well. Alongside, behind Beaugrand, is the red of Katie Zafiris. Look for those two, but there's quite a nice bunch there of 4 or 5. And that's Jeffcoat, who's just trying to push her opponents across and get as far across to that buoy as she possibly can. But it is Colwell and Beaugrand early on.
Colwell's going to move up here, I think. I think Cassandra is comfortable in front. I think Colwell will run the wider line around the buoy, and she likes to lead, so if she's going to push it. We saw it yesterday. I thought she ran magnificently yesterday compared to years past, where she hasn't had that confidence in her run, and she knows she's got this second swim, third swim to do, where she can open up with the swim power and showcase that blue jersey and potentially put herself on the podium.
That Brazilian there, that's actually Victoria Lopez, because Baptista is in the green jersey, so she's in mid-pack. But at the moment, it's Beaugrand and Colwell, and Beaugrand just pushing Colwell just a little bit wider. You can see the buoy there in the distance, so they've got to go around the end of that pontoon, and then about 70-odd metres, and it's starting to string out just a little bit here.
Katie had a much better line for the swim buoy. She was sitting 4th or 5th, had that inside run, and is now coming up on the inside of Cassandra in the grey jersey.
Yeah, and you can see Vicky Holland next to Katie as well, so that's interesting because Vicky's been running really well, and she obviously had an amazing run yesterday, and I think she's ready to face those conditions today. We saw her warming up earlier, and she was just loving it.
Sophie Colwell and Cassandra Beaugrand head-to-head, neither choosing to sit on the other's hip at the moment. Beaugrand, we know her as a fantastic runner, but her swim has just improved out of sight.
She's across the board very strong. I remember seeing her as a 16-year-old in Hamburg in that mixed teams relay for the first time. I couldn't believe how quick this runner was in the water, and she's going from strength to strength. Now she's in the transition jersey. It's funny because we talk about Beaugrand's run strength, but yesterday Katie Zafiris in the red jersey, which is the runner's jersey, posted the fastest run time. So that makes things very interesting today. Katie a lot more tactically astute, sitting back off the feet of Cassandra and shadowing her for this first swim.
heading back towards the ramp for the first time. They're going to get in and out of the water 3 times, so some of the smaller athletes will struggle with the cold getting back into the water multiple times, especially with this wind. 1.6 kilometre run, they will attack after this and then back into the water once again. Cassandra Beaugrand on the inside, Sophie Colwell alongside her. And when you know exactly how good Sophie Colwell is, this swim from Cassandra Beaugrand is excellent. Right behind them is Victoria Lopez, the 23-year-old. Absolutely a swim star.
When you see a bunch like this, you realise the pace isn't really on. When the pace is on, it tends to be a lot more single file.
All right, we'll head down to Jo. She's at the exit of the swim.
Yes, I'm just with Henry here. As these swimmers are getting out, they're still very bunched together, which is obviously tactical, isn't it?
Yeah, it's looking very tactical. Caldwell has managed to lead out the swim, but the real fight will be here at the end, where we've got Moria and Lopez, who are going to be going for that elimination at the end.
Okay, and we saw Zafira is having a little bit of trouble getting out of the water there, but she seems to be doing okay now. Back to you in the commentary.
Yeah, we saw in the background there, Kate Zafira's have a big slip and lose a whole bunch of places, and yes, the elimination is coming, Macca.
And this is the tough bit, Morea on the button here. She has to have a quick transition, because last through transition across the dismount line will be eliminated from the race right now.
Across the mount line?
Across the mount line.
Across the mount line will be, so there's at the back there, Baptista, who's quickest on the bike. Unfortunate for her, the bike's not getting included today. Moria, she'll know that this is happening, but at the front though, it's Caldwell.
Moria's run without, who was that without bare feet in the green
jersey? She just put bare feet on, that was Baptista. She's just gone straight
she's
past.
opted to run barefoot.
She chose to go barefoot.
And our eliminated athlete is the under-23 world champion, Emily Morier, who probably should have elected to run barefoot, knowing that she was the last into transition. Her day is done.
We saw Leo Bergier do this in Singapore with the barefoot running. It's the first time we'd ever seen it, and now
he paid for it.
He paid for it to run barefoot for a mile.
That's got to be a mistake.
I think it is.
It's not a decision. What do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't choose to do that. I mean, it's not safe.
As you say, she's on the front.
I don't know whether that's a mistake from her or, but we'll see how she fares after this first leg.
That is amazing. Maybe the water's that cold she can't feel her feet at the moment, but she looks very, very comfortable in bare feet.
Feel it tonight, though.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, I guess, after an event. If you got the prize purse, deal with cut-up feet after.
I suppose so.
Yeah, it was great to see Rachel Clammer actually helping Katie out of the water there as well. That's what it's all about, Super League racing. We all help each other out, and we have fun with it.
So the swim cap staying on for Cassandra Beaugrand. Not worrying about that one at the moment. She does have the shoes on though. Swim cap off and shoes off for Louisa Baptista. Sophie Colwell ahead of Vicky Holden, the two Brits together. Katie Zafiris in 5th position. Sandra Daudet and also Rachel Clammer, and just about the rest of the field all deciding to keep the swim caps on. But at the moment, it's Cassandra Beaugrand, rated as our #1 runner. Crunch the numbers thanks to Graham Atchison from Forecast Consultancy, and he says that Cassandra Beaugrand head and shoulders above everyone else when it comes to the run. I'll be very interested to see whether she does this on the second run, Louisa Baptista.
This is a 100% a choice she's made to do. She's very, very comfortable. She's sitting off Beaugrand, who's the best runner, as you said, on paper in this field. She's got a quick transition without putting the shoes on, and we saw when Leo Bergier did this in Singapore, he really, really struggled, but she's very, very
Singapore, the world's cleanest place. Perfect roads here, cobblestones, all sorts of things. Things have been blowing on to the course as well. I'd be very interested to see how she's got 2 laps to do this.
Now, if you look at the wind, I was able to walk the course this morning. The wind is coming onto their left shoulder here off the marina, and when they make this left-hand turn into the run straight, it is gale force, and you'll see them line up, I think, one behind each other, but as Cassandra starts to pull away. But this section here, right in your face, very, very tough running.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if Cassandra decides to take the short shoot at all now, and Rachel as well.
It looks like they're running into a brick wall at the moment. It's even making Cassandra Beaugrand look like she's struggling on the run, and that's when you know that it really is blowing hard. So congratulations to everyone who's worked really hard since 4 o'clock this morning to make the course into what it is. It was a bit of a wreck this morning. Zafiris leads the rest of the pack from Sandra Daudet, who continues to impress. Vicky Holland and Rachel Klammer also within the 10 seconds.
A big tailwind now, so that'll be interesting to see how they use that headwind and tailwind as the later runs come, because as you make that turn where you see that short shoot sign and that tailwind opens up, that gap will open as people are pushing the headwind.
All right, as it stands, Bo Grizz, Matt Baptista, Zafiris Dode, Holland, Klammer, Sophie Colwell, Taylor Spivey of America, who featured so heavily in a couple of rounds last year, Carolina Routier, Victoria Lopez, Olivia Matthias in front of a home crowd, Anna Maria Mazzetti, Emma Jeffcoat, and Yuko Takahashi is 10 seconds back. So at the end of this run, we're probably going to wave goodbye to Yuko Takahashi if she can't catch up to Emma Jeffcoat, who has had a tough time on the first part of this run, considering that she was in good position or reasonable position from the swim.
Yeah, the girls probably don't want to let Cassandra get too much time on them now, because as we just saw, she's led the swim out and she's just going to keep pulling more and more time away from them, so they should try to get closer contact.
And Katie Zafiris will know that she needs to get past Louisa Baptista and start cutting back in to this lead. There's 3 dead turns on this course, so everyone can get a bit of a look at where everyone else is. Already Sophie Colwell's getting ready to put the swim cap back on.
Vicky Holland's putting her swim cap on now. She's right up in front. And Rachel Klammer, who's just sat in that group protecting herself from the wind, is in a very good spot. It's Katie Zafiris who has to close the gap. We saw in yesterday's race she was able to do that in this second swim. But to me, it looks like Cassandra is opening up on this run leg.
She is putting time. It's got to be more than 5 seconds now. She's put into the field. There is Zafiris behind. She's gotten past Baptista, and she needs to track down Cassandra Beaugrand, because she knows that Cassandra has the short shoot and she does not. Rachel Klammer is the other one with the short shoot at the moment. There's Vicky Holland going past the screen. She looked like she was digging pretty deep at that point. From Taylor Spivey, Sophie Colwell, Anna Maria Mazzetti, and there is Victoria Lopez, who has had a tough run after a very, very good swim as well.
It was the first time I saw Louisa Baptista's face on that turn when she was with the group there, and it's finally starting to sting, whether that decision to not wear shoes is starting to bite now. It looked like she wasn't comfortable at all.
Coming into transition is Cassandra Beaugrand, so we'll head back down to Joan.
Very strong there. It's so interesting to see that Louisa Baptista chose to run barefoot. She has fallen back, so what do you think that did with her run?
Yeah, I think she just really wanted to get out there as quick as she can, maybe save her shoes for later in the race, but I think it's going to hurt her feet towards the end of this race.
Absolutely. I mean, she does seem to have lost a little bit of ground, but then now she goes down to the swim. Well, after the running, she goes down to the swim, and it might save her a little bit of time there, perhaps.
Yeah, she definitely had the quickest transition, so she went from being about 6 to second again.
Okay, well, one more lap on this run. Back to you.
She's certainly going to put some points into the grey jersey for quickest transition.
It's amazing. It's a very, very interesting decision. It's something we actually talked about in the offices at Super League, whether any athlete would opt to do that. And it's Yuko Takahashi, you see, has been eliminated, which is I was quite surprised about that, to be honest.
She had a bit of an accident yesterday, Yuko Takahashi. She hasn't had a happy weekend. One of our contracted athletes. So disappointing for Yuko. She's very, very good in the heat. She was great in Singapore, but not so good here. Asian Games gold medalist from 2018. Hasn't had her best year in 2019. And into the water goes Louisa Baptista.
Zafiris and
Klammer, Dode, and Vicky Holland.
So this is the hard part now, having to run back down and back into the water. It's always a little bit of a shock getting back in and swimming hard again. But yeah, I think the girls are in groups now, so they can work together.
Well, Sophie Colwell needs to lead her group up towards the front. She's already seeing, what is that now, 20 seconds. So she needs a big, big swim. But at the front, all by herself, and with no one to drag her back, is Cassandra Beaugrand. There is Zafiris, taking a bit of a wider line.
I say Cassandra's probably in the hardest position right now. Obviously, when you're behind, you've got people to chase, so it pushes you on a bit more. Cassandra's got quite a tough position out front now, and she just needs to stay focused and get in a rhythm, and I think she'll hopefully she might pull more time away from them on the run.
Emma Jeffcoat 33 seconds back, last into the water. Again, she'll need to really utilise this swim, because by the time we get out, someone's going to get eliminated at the top of that ramp. Victoria Lopez, Carolina Routier. So there's, in those bottom three, there's two noted swimmers,
Yes.
and Lopez is a swim star in her own right, the 23-year-old. Finished 4th in the Tokyo test, and she had a super quick bike split in that one, but she's a noted swimmer.
Jeffcoat's let herself a lot to do. It's a difficult position to be in, giving anyone 8 seconds. You have someone to chase, but 8 seconds over 300 metres, it's going to pull for a big hard swim and a big transition.
And if she does manage to make it through, what kind of run legs is she going to have, having to go deep into the red on the swim as Zafiris turns the buoy at about just before the midpoint. Yeah, she needs to as well. Katie Zafiris.
Seeing her going to single file there, Rachel Clemmer on her feet. It's single file means the pace is on, and she needs to really close down to Cassandra and hope that Cassandra is sort of taking a bit of a breath. We saw this in yesterday's semi-final, these two together, and it was here that Katie was able to close that gap in the water.
Yeah, it's a really good swim from Rachel Clemmer, actually. She's not known for swimming, I guess, but this is a great swim, and she's hanging in there, and I think she's going to be tough to beat.
Jeffcoat's got to be halfway through that 8-second gap. We saw from that shot at the back, it can be a little deceiving in terms of the perspective of that shot, but it looked like about 4 seconds. As Cassandra Beaugrand returns for home, and there is the gap back to Katie Zafiris and Rachel Clemmer. Beautiful swimming stroke though on Beaugrand. She's just one of those athletes that doesn't look like they're trying too hard at any point, but always has the pace. A little bit of like a young Georgia Taylor Brown in some ways.
Yeah, not sure about that. Yeah, it's great to watch Cassandra, but you always think she's not trying at all, and we're trying so hard. But she has such a nice swim stroke, and I guess she managed to conserve a lot of energy there because it's so efficient, and she has such an efficient run style as well.
Just sighting there probably once every 10 or 12 strokes, which, I mean, on a course like this, you don't have to worry about it too much. How often would you have a look at where you're up to if you're at the front of this race?
I guess on this race, you probably want to sight fairly often to make sure you're actually heading, because the ramp isn't that wide, so you want to make sure you're heading in the right direction. Usually for me, I'm on feet, so I basically just follow the bubbles. Yeah, it's usually Taylor Spivey's feet that I'm following. But yeah, you want to sight quite often, and you just kind of, in a race, you get into the habit of sighting every 3-4 strokes, basically.
Yeah. She had a good run there, and out she goes. Now, last time up onto the ramp, Katie Zafiris had a big slip. This time, she's not in that group, so she gets the hand out.
Yeah. Vicky Holland's in here. I saw Vicky right here, great swimming.
Yeah, that is a good swim from Holland.
Taylor
This is
Spivey.
ahead of Spivey. Also coming out of the water there is Sandra Daudet. There is Sophie Colwell and Carolina Routier.
They
Olivia
close the
Matthias
gap.
in the white.
So I think Baptiste is possibly going to be pulled out here. Depends if she takes the trainers, she might be eliminated. But if she goes without the trainers again, it could be between her and Emma Jeffcoat.
She might have to. So we'll see if we can get up on Instagram a photo of Louisa Baptiste's feet if they're a bit busted up a little bit later on. So make sure you tune into our social channels. There's plenty of content being pushed out all the time for behind the scenes. But at the front right now, it's Cassandra Beaugrand.
See if she goes without first. She was second into the water and almost last out, so she
absolutely has to. If she does it now, that's an error. Clemmer comes out ahead of Zafiris. Holland tucked in behind.
I can see her in the back of the green. She's gone.
She's going to go straight through.
She's safe.
So it's Anna Mazzetti.
Who's going to get caught out?
One of
3 athletes left. Jeffcoat gets out over the line. Daudet gets out over the line. Routier gets out as well. And it's Mazzetti who is unlucky. Anna Maria Mazzetti. Had a great end to the year. 7th in Lausanne, 10th in Hamburg as well. Finished 10th in the Tokyo test. The Italian.
What an interesting decision to make. It's saved her twice now. She's going backwards in the swim. She wasn't confident with the swim, but she's able to use that transition with the elimination line to stay in this race.
Yeah, I think she'll know that she's not a strong swimmer. So I guess she's made that great decision to go without the trainers, and it's put her back in the race every time.
Well, we'll find out if it's a great decision this afternoon. When we look at her feet. She's probably done for the season, but at least she has.
But in respect to this, yes, 100%. But at the moment, last time we were here on the run, of course, this is the second run of 3. It was about 8 seconds, and now it's pushed out to 13 seconds on Zafiris, and of course the short shoot in her favour as well, Cassandra Beaugrand, which is probably about a 3-second gap, maybe more, depending if you're a good runner. Clemmer pushes up on the inside shoulder of Zafiris, and that group of 3 there is Well, the resumes of those three athletes are just about second to none. Spivey by herself, Victoria Lopez. On the back there is Sophie Caldwell, Olivia Matthias, Sandra Daudet, Louisa Baptista in the green. And Emma Jeffcoat behind Carolina Routier and really needing to get a hustle on, and she's not going to be eliminated.
Rachel Clammer, as you said in that last swim, to be able to tag Katie Zaferis in that swim, something, you know, Rachel is a great all-rounder, but when Katie's putting the hammer down in the swim, we have seen in races past that Rachel Clammer has been dropped from the swim, but she's really shadowing Katie and using it to get through, you know, sitting off her feet in the swim, using it through the headwinds on this run course. And it's a lot shorter race. Katie Zaferis is always coming into strength as they come through these races, with the event only being a little over 35-40 minutes now. Rachel could move past them. I don't know whether she'll move up on Grant, but she could take out that group of three.
Well, it's very important in terms of championship points and the standings going in. If you're going to find a weak spot for Katie Zaferis, who by her own admission has never done an aquathon, you need to turn the screws as much as you possibly can. Let's head back down to Joe as they come through transition.
Yeah, they are coming through transition again, and Cassandra has obviously built up quite the lead here. It's going to be interesting to see whether Katie, it's going to be all about this swim, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Cassandra is really pushing the pace and really extending her lead. This race is for her to lose. Katie Zaferis looks like she's hanging in tough. Clammer is looking really good with Holland. It's going to be quite a race for second and third.
But it's still pretty windy down here, so Cassandra actually doing a lot of work out there up in front while the other girls get to tuck in.
I think it's quite clever. I think it's quite good for her to stay out in front, control the pace, and she can just really run at her own pace.
Okay, a lot of extra work for Cassandra, but worth the trouble. Back to you.
Plenty of work going on there at the back. Lovely shot as Cassandra Beaugrand comes up through Thunder Alley. Looks like she's doing it easily. And yeah, just a reminder at the top of your screen that both Beaugrand and Clammer, as winners of their semi-finals yesterday, have the shortcut available, the short shoot. I'm just wondering right now, and there is Emma Jeffcoat. She knows she's at the back. I suppose she needs to do a reverse Baptista and just run straight through transition and dive in with the shoes on.
That'd be a smart move. And she has the swim
it's the only move that is going to stop her from being eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, I guess she is quite far behind now, so, I mean, why not just go for it and see what happens? This is Super League, so anything can happen, really, and we've seen all the different approaches, so I'd quite like to see Emma Jeffcoat get in there with her shoes on and see how that ends up.
Okay, so here's my question to you. If you know you're going to be eliminated and you run into transition, everyone's in that, you know that's the only way you're going to do it. If you're smart enough, you have to do it. Now, if she goes into the water with the shoes on and her shoes come off, kicks them off in the water, she gets out, she does the rest of the thing with no shoes, does she get disqualified for that? Never happened before in the history of triathlon. What happens?
That'd be another one of those headaches that we'd have to deal with after the event.
You're the one that makes up the rules.
No, we have the technical official Tomo that does all the rules. So I'd blame it on him.
He enforces the rules.
He enforces the
I don't
rules.
think there is a rule for that. We're going to find out. There's Carolina Routier. She is second last, and she's going to need to do some work to catch onto the back of this group.
She's got a big swim, so if she can stay close enough, she could swim back onto the group. It's Emma's in a lot of problems now.
Emma, keep your shoes on.
Yeah.
I know you can't hear us, but run straight through and dive in with your shoes on.
It's actually great to see Carol Routier back in there. Obviously, she had a bad crash last year, and that put her out for a long time. So it's great to see her back in, and I know she's just enjoying it now, and she just enjoys being around triathlon.
We're talking about things that are happening mid-pack and at the back of the pack, because at the front, Cassandra Beaugrand. We talk about Katie Zaferis being that consistent athlete that looks the same no matter what the conditions, but right now it looks like we're seeing an absolute carbon copy replay of the first swim run in the second for Cassandra Beaugrand.
This is impressive from Cassandra. She's taken it out from the start. She's not looked back once, actually, which is a thing that I probably do quite a bit. But she's not looked back. She's stayed focused. She's looking ahead. She's just getting the job done. She knows now it's one more time round. Yeah, and like we said, she's still got the short shoe available, but I don't think anyone's catching her now.
Look at Vicky Holland. She's starting to get assertive now. She knows it's coming down the business end. Rachel Clammer has that short shoot up her sleeve to have over Katie Zaferis. So this is a big swim for Rachel and a huge swim from Vicky Holland, because Vicky has a big dynamite sprint finish.
Yeah, great transition from them all there. They got the shoes off in one swift movement.
Looking at the back of the pack as that top three, or that second group of three, do the turn. There's quite a big gap back to Jeffcoat, Routier, and there's Jeffcoat. Come on, Emma, run through.
She does.
Run through. I don't think it's going to make any difference.
I think she's
she
smiling
knows.
now.
Yeah, I think she knows.
We'll see. Maybe she heard you in the box here.
Louise Baptista again
Not
survived
going to
that
make any
run.
difference.
Survived that run in bare feet. Quick transition. Now big swim needed from Caroline Routier to get onto that group in front and sort out the elimination in this last one.
There you go. Emma Jeffcoat, who has been such a fantastic addition to our championship season, gets the dry robe on immediately after those conditions and tries to stay as warm as possible, but didn't quite have the pace. Meanwhile, Cassandra Beaugrand's doing a little victory lap on the swim.
her own.
Yeah. She's looked magnificent. She just looked even throughout this entire event. It was where I was expecting Katie to make a move on that second aquathon through. It didn't really happen, and I think that the benefactors of Katie's attackingness to move across to Cassandra has been Rachel Klammer and Vicky Holland, who've been able to shadow her and benefit from that pace.
Bit of a gap here between Klammer on one side and Zafiris, and behind her Holland on the other, as they battle for what are going to be very, very important championship points. We're going to head right down now to Joe, who's with Emma Jeffcoat.
Emma, you've had a tough weekend here, but great effort at least. Unfortunately, you just got pulled out there. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, I just got pulled out on that second last run, so I got a similar run to go. Fortunately, I think I would have liked a bike, although it's crazy out there. You know, I prefer the normal triathlon discipline, but yeah, caught up some ground on that last swim, but unfortunately didn't have the legs to stick it in for the last round.
And how does it feel when you're out there running? How is that wind to take on?
Oh my God, coming around those corners, it feels like you literally hit a brick wall, and especially when the gusts come through, it's like it stops in your tracks. So I guess being at the tail end for a little bit there didn't help me out. I couldn't really shelter behind anyone, and yeah, a bit of a tough day, but I'm glad after yesterday that I made it into the final.
Well done for the effort you put in this weekend. Let's go cheer on the girls.
Definitely, thank you.
Congratulations to Emma for making it into the final. It's been a tough weekend all round, and these three that are behind Cassandra Beaugrand are attempting not to work together too much.
Katie's put the hammer down. She knows that Rachel Klammer has the short shoot. She needs a bit of distance. Klammer's swimming for her life. Vicky Holland's going to sit off Rachel's feet and rely on her to close that gap to Katie, but I think Katie's going to have to really kick it in now.
Yeah, you can see Katie's a lot more focused now. It's the last time for her that she can make a move and try and get a gap on Rachel. She's going to have to really go for it up the ramp out the swim and hopefully get a bit of a gap, because it's 3 seconds maybe the short shoot will give you, so Katie is going to need that gap now.
3 seconds probably under normal conditions. When you've got to spend an extra 10 metres running into the brick wall of headwind, it might even be a little bit more. So Zafiris at the moment sandwiched between two athletes who've got at least 3 seconds in their pocket, and she knows that. She's the consummate professional. She's always thinking about what's happening around her, and she knows that Cassandra's probably disappeared in front of her, and she needs to make sure going into Malta that she doesn't let anyone in between her and Cassandra. If we think over the course of the season that those two are going to be the two championship contenders. 15 points on offer for the win, 14 points, and then all the way down to 1 for 15th place. But if she can defend,
if Cassandra wins this event and then goes on to defend in Malta, she'll get a bonus point, which puts her 2 points ahead of
of anyone at the moment, depending on what happens. So
technically 3 points, because it'll be 2 points difference and plus the bonus point.
You think the biggest thing, Georgia, that Zafiris is thinking right now is, if I can't catch Cassandra, I need to make sure that I finish second. I need to hold off Rachel Klammer, because that's going to cost me another point. And we cannot be thinking that I can let Cassandra not only get 2 points in front, or 3 if Vicky Holland comes through, but also have the opportunity to go back-to-back and pick up a further one in Malta.
Yeah, I think Katie definitely knows now that Cassandra's so far ahead. It's going to be really hard to catch, especially when she does have a short shoot as well. So all she'll be thinking now is, I need a gap on Rachel, and I can't let her get too close to me. And she'll definitely be looking for second. I don't think she'll want any less than that.
Out of the water comes Katie Zafiris, and then
Klammer. Very close.
Yeah,
Katie really.
That was the sound of our commentary box nearly blowing over. While we carry on. Zafiris at 19, Klammer 23, Holland 25, Max Spivey 28. So Taylor Spivey's pushed up and really trying to close that gap in late on.
Katie really pushed it off out of that swim exit to get that little gap on Rachel. You see Rachel trying to close that, because this is an important move. She's in the red jersey, Katie Zaferes, because she's the best runner. And I think young Rachel Klammer has been shadowing her to protect herself from that wind. She won't have that if that gap opens, and Zaferes is able to use this tailwind right now.
Yeah, so Katie's out. Katie can turn it around when she wants to, and now she knows it's the time that she has to go. She's got 2 laps running now, and I think she's going to give it everything she's got, finish the weekend off well.
Make that tailwind turn now and open up that gap.
At this point, I mean, now they're taking their swim caps off. They don't need them anymore. Do they just throw them to the side?
No,
Or carry them around if you don't have to.
I don't know.
They've got to be in the swim box.
They have to be in the swim box. Okay, tucked in or in the swim box. So both Rachel Klammer and Sandra Beaugrand did not bother to take the short chute the first time around.
Oh, and she's taking her shoes now with her. She knows she's going to be eliminated.
With her shoes.
She's having fun.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep running straight to the hotel. Don't want to have to go back and get the shoes.
Yeah.
We're going to get out of these conditions straight away. Luisa Baptista, the 25-year-old, the Pan Am Games champion.
Well, it's nice to see her. It's nice to see her running still. So hopefully everything's okay. But we'll check up on her later.
If it was anything like Leo Bergier in Singapore last year, I don't think he realised they hurt so much until about 20 minutes after the end of the race, when the adrenaline had stopped.
Yeah,
and then the blood started flowing properly.
Yeah, you get in the shower and it just burns.
What a big race from Cassandra Beaugrand. She hasn't been pushed all day, really. She sat there in that swim, in that opening swim, with a big start. She roared off. She beat Sophie Caldwell off the start, led the swim, opened up on that first run, and has just looked relaxed for the entire swim, run, swim, run, swim, run, swim, run. It's been an amazing performance.
Let's get some insight into exactly the mindset of Luisa Baptista, who ran without a shoe. She's with Joe right now.
Well, Louisa, a valiant effort there. First of all, we've all been talking about your decision to leave your shoes behind. What was going through your mind the first time round?
Well, I think I came to Super League by the challenge, and I think that this weather changed a little bit my plans, and this was a big challenge. So I stopped, think what is the best solution, and I didn't have a great swim. So I thought, oh, I have to be fast. Go as fast as you can, try to go with the strongest girls in the second swim, and let's see what I can do. I think I felt a little bit the pace, but I'm really happy by my decision. I could go almost to the end.
And how are your feet now after that?
Yeah, it's a little bit painful, but it's okay.
Bit sore. Yeah. Well, congratulations. Really brave effort there. Well done.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Isn't it good?
That is awesome. That's what it's all about, is making decisions to keep yourself in the racing, and the dollars behind that are going to be something she's going to thank herself for. She was almost there till the end. So
I know, and there's a big step up in prize money. Everyone picks up something in this final, but every position gives you a little bit extra in the pocket, and probably some of that's going to be spent on band-aids and bandages.
She didn't even take the short shoot.
Didn't take the short shoot. She's forgotten about the short shoot.
Forgot to take the short shoot.
Didn't need to take it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we've got one more lap now, so I think she's...
Rachel will take it now, so let's see the difference here, because Katie has really put the hammer down on that lap, knowing that Rachel Klammer has this short shoot.
Rachel hasn't even taken the time to take off her swimming cap.
Pushing into this headwind. She'll dump the
She'll
short
take the
shoot
short
now.
shoot.
She is, so she's closer to Katie now, but yeah, I think she's getting there. She can be a little bit more determined, just be more motivated to jump on the back of Katie, and then whoever can get that sprint finish in.
Then we're going to see a good fight too between Vicky Holland and Taylor Spivey. There they are coming into focus with 800 metres left to go, and Vicky Holland finished 11th here last time out and came in as world champion. So there are a few people questioning that one, and herself included. Obviously wasn't happy with her performance last year, and she certainly put that right this year.
Oh, without question. You saw that yesterday. There was a lot more purpose to her racing. I think after you win a world title, you spend some time to soak that up and take it in. She came a few weeks later and raced here, and there was a lot more purpose in her racing yesterday.
Cassandra doesn't give very much away. She's so focused, she's so composed. She's like that before races as well. You don't know how she's feeling. She just keeps herself to herself, and obviously today's worked out well for her. She's stayed so focused, and I'm really impressed how she's raced.
Doesn't give much away at all. Doesn't give much away in an interview. Doesn't give much away. Just runs her own race. Stays. You know, she doesn't mix a lot with a lot of the other athletes. Some of the French athletes, you always see a group of them always together. They're obviously very close, and you know they're all the members of the same mixed team relay team that sweeps all before them on a regular basis. And she's certainly doing that today. And we're halfway, I guess, to that French domination we talked about as we were getting blown away out there in the transition in the pre-show, with Vincent Lewis looking like the favourite, or definitely the favourite, to take out the men's race. We're still not sure, Macca, of the format of the men's race. We're still waiting to see what the wind does, but it's not dying down much, so it could well be the same. And there is the battle for second and third, Zefiris and Klammer, and Zefiris has negated that short shoot advantage as Klammer came in a little bit.
They were running into the headwind there. You saw the desperation on Rachel just behind Katie to close that gap. As they take that right-hand turn, the wind is sort of off your left shoulder, and I think it's very, very difficult to close it down from there.
How about Cassandra Beau-Grant? She was fantastic last year. She has just had a great weekend, was dominant in her semi-final, saw off Katie Zefiris, our reigning champion then, and then comes out with a change in the format and does exactly the same. And it's not often that Katie Zefiris is trying to chase somebody down, but that has certainly been the case. Hasn't been able to do the job. Zefiris has switched off. She's taken the shoot again.
She doesn't need it.
I don't need it.
Didn't need to take it.
In our faces.
And there is the smile. She's been the top three in every enduro. She won the enduro in Singapore. It was changed to an aquathon here. It has made no difference. And Cassandra Beau-Grant has picked up $20,000 and is your new women's championship leader with a top 15 points. Zefiris comes through on the sprint and takes second position. Well done to our reigning champion. And Rachel Klammer takes third overall. She'll be happy with that. And there's a big race on behind her for fourth position. The sprint finish between Spivey and Holland, and I cannot pick it. I think Holland's got it.
Possibly Holland.
Vicky Holland's got it. They were glued to each other for the last 800 metres, but in front of a home crowd, Vicky Holland gets it. That makes you happy, doesn't it?
I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, no, that was good to see Vicky, and they're pushing all the way into the end, and that's not what you want after the end of that. But no, look at all the girls. They love it, and it's great to see Sophie still in there, and we still got Olivia in there, so it's amazing to see those girls cross the line.
Two French women in the top six, Sandra Daudet, a couple of Brits as well, as Colwell joins Holland, and there is Olivia Matthias. And we said it before, she was so nervous before racing with the calibre of these women, and yet she comes across the line in eighth, and congratulations to her, Olivia Matthias.
Yeah, she fully gets involved in it, and she gets nervous, but she loves it, and she hasn't been running as much because she's had a little injury, so I think off the back of that under-23 world silver medal, she's just got more and more confidence, and yeah, we take care of her.
Well, doesn't look like she needs much taken care of now, and across the line comes Victoria Lopez, second of the Brazilians, a 23-year-old who is dealing with these conditions. Probably could live in Brazil for 300 years and never come across conditions like this.
It is cold, and those dry suits have come in handy. You see all the athletes pulling them on, and
it's windy.
It's very windy.
It's
cold.
the trees.
It's windy. Good insight there from Georgia Taylor-Brown. It's windy.
But
extremely windy.
Look at all the people that are watching. It's great. They're still out there, and they still love it.
Yeah, we saw that in 2017 as well. Absolutely pouring down, and it didn't matter to the locals of Jersey. We're going to head down to Jo right now, who we're continuing to force out there in the conditions, as she's with our winner.
Well, Cassandra, congratulations. You looked so comfortable. Did you enjoy that?
Sorry, yes, I really enjoyed, but it was very cold today, and I think it was better with swim and run.
How was it to be on your own, taking on the wind and holding off your rival Katie?
The third time it was very difficult, but at the beginning it was good.
And you're still only 22 years old. It's so exciting. Exciting for us to watch you. How exciting to think about what you will do next in the sport.
Yeah, I think it's a good format for me because it's very speedy, and I think it's better for me. Yeah.
And now you get to take the pink jersey. Are you excited to defend that in Malta?
Yeah, really. And with a good weather.
We promise you some better weather in Malta. Congratulations, Cassandra.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Cassandra Beau-Grant, who is our championship leader. She will pick up the pink jersey for Malta, and she has not only done that, but she's really laid down a marker for what is required of an athlete now to win a race here in Super League 2019.
Without question, and it's actually the first time the pink jersey has been taken off Katie Zafari's shoulders, so it's very
That's
interesting.
right,
Yes,
it is.
first time ever.
Here are the results. In the end, it was 12 seconds. No, what am I doing there? 8 seconds.
Your math. That's what you're doing.
Is
Is your
terrible.
math.
The Rachel Clammer was third from Holland and Spivey, who both finished on a 34-12. We think Vicky Holland got that one. Important in terms of championship points. Congratulations to Sandra Daudet as well, who finishes 6th from Sophie Colwell, Olivia Matthias, Caroline Narutier and Vittoria Lopez round out your top 10. But a good split across, and what is that, a minute and a half across our top 10. And that's what happens even in an aquathon when you have that kind of headwind blowing around. He splits the field up. So 90 seconds between our top 10. Of course, we lost 5 of our athletes eliminated, and I'm not sure whether that played out exactly how we thought. Cassandra was absolutely dominant. We're going to head back down now, and we'll get the thoughts of Katie Zafira. She's better placed than us to tell us what it was like down there, Joe.
Yes, Katie, congratulations for second place. I know it was a tough day for you, especially without the bike. How did you find that? How are you feeling?
Yeah, it was super difficult. I set myself up well in the first swim, but coming out on the ramp, I just kept slipping and ended up being probably almost last out of the water by the end of it. But I'm proud of how I fought for it. Cassandra's a really hard person to chase down, and as I was trying to chase her down, I was trying not to get chased down by the others.
And of course, you had 2 short shoots going against you, Rachel and Cassandra. You managed, obviously, to hold on to second. Are you pleased with your efforts?
Oh yeah, I'm super pleased. I mean, that was such a hard race to do, and I'm proud of how we were all able to adapt to the different race scenario, and I thought it was still an amazing race.
You did have a moment of slipping out of the first water. How much did that affect you?
Oh, well, it affected me quite a bit, I think, just because I was never able to connect to start with. But, I mean, that's what happens. There's no room for mistakes, and I had some slow transitions and a bad ramp, so got to be better for the next one.
Well, we know you love competing at Super League. You've competed in every one, a change in format, the unpredictability. What do you love about competing here so much?
Oh, I mean, I love that. I love the unpredictability of it. I love that it challenges me, and I think it makes us better as triathletes all around, and just the crowd and the atmosphere of all these races. It's a really fun one and a really supportive one.
And are you looking forward to the challenge of hunting down Cassandra in Malta?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. We are looking forward to seeing you there. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Always a humble champion is Katie Zafiris, and always with a smile on her face no matter what's happened. Let's have a look back at this one, and Sophie Colwell did what she does and got a great start, as did Cassandra Bogran, and these two kind of fought it out all the way through the first swim.
And here's the mishap she had in just coming out of the water. She went from second, right on Cassandra's feet, all the way back to about 10th out of the water, and that was where she was dislodged from Cassandra, and this is where the gaps opened.
Yeah, it's definitely slippy getting out of that ramp, and especially when it's a big group, it's hard to get a hand and be pulled up. So yeah, I can see why Katie, how she managed to slip there.
Luisa Baptista, of course, ran with no shoes on. We know that was a deliberate action, and her bank account will thank her, if not for her feet when she gets into the shower a little bit later on. But Bogran dropped Baptista and was never headed again. It was a lonely race from her from then on, and you could see the trio fighting it out behind in Clammer, Zafiris and Holland, ahead of Spivey and Daudet. And that battle between Holland and Spivey was a good one as we came into the latter ends of this race. Didn't even need to take the short shoot, didn't even bother with, didn't even look at it, Sandra Bogran, during this one. Just was too focused. Rachel Clammer did, though, and she managed to cut a little bit out of Zafiris' lead. It wouldn't be enough, though, and in the end, Bogran won comfortably by 10 or so seconds, and she picks up $20,000 and 15 championship points, along with a pink jersey heading into Malta in 3 weeks' time. A strong finish, an unnecessarily strong finish there from Zafiris. Had no one around her, but enjoyed it regardless, as did Rachel Clammer, who was our semi-final winner yesterday. The race for fourth was fantastic, and just off the back of that great support here in terrible conditions from Holland, she pipped Spivey, and both of them collapsed. And by that stage, Bogran's heart rate was back at 50, so she didn't mind. She just watched it. She just watched it go past. She'd already finished 40 seconds before. Here are our championship points as they stand. The first points on the board for season 2019-20. And Cassandra Bogran is your leader from Zafiris, Clammer, Holland and Spivey. Sandra Daudet picks up 10 championship points from Sophie Colwell, Olivia Matthias, Caroline Routier and Vittoria Lopez are your top 10. And now we're going to head back down to Joe, who's found Rachel Klammer, who picks up 13 championship points and a third and a podium to start off her championship series.
I have found Rachel trying to keep warm here. Well, Rachel, it's been a great weekend for you. A third place amongst some of the best women in the world. Are you pleased with your performance?
Yes, definitely. It's been a little bit windy today, which was actually quite fun. Unfortunately, we didn't get to ride, but it was very dangerous. Like even on the run, you could feel like the wind was pumping. So
you were catching Katie, especially on that last run. What was going through your mind there?
I'm getting so close, but not close enough. Towards the end, my calf started cramping up a little bit, so I looked behind where Vicky was, and I was like, okay, Vicky's clear, but now I want to try to get to Katie. But I knew she was so strong, but I'm very happy with my third place.
And such a different type of race today. What did you learn from today that might help you with future triathlons?
Yeah, definitely. I was a little bit skeptical about it because of the swim. We had to, there was obviously not more swimming, but because the bike wasn't there, it was even more important to have a good swim. And the swimming was definitely my weakest point last year, so I've decided to change some things. But that was only like 2.5 weeks ago, so I was a little bit scared that it would not work out at all. But I think I learned a couple of things in the last 2 weeks, which I could try to focus on during the race today. And I knew my running has been really strong this year, so I thought, okay, I need to be able to get back with the girls on the run.
And a great chance to practice that in the wind. And looking ahead, what's next? I know we're looking forward to Malta. Will we see you there?
Yeah, definitely. Malta's the next and last race of the season. So I'm looking forward to prepare for that. It's definitely easier now. I've had a good race.
Excellent. Well, congratulations, and we'll see you out there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great effort from Rachel Klammer. It's interesting that even at her stage in her career, she can say, I learned a couple of things that I implemented on the swim. So, and you can see she's the 12th fastest swimmer overall last year. She had her worst swims in Jersey of anywhere in the cold, and yet she comes out, she puts together in an aquathon a third place. So whatever she's learned, it's working.
Well, Georgia said that, didn't you? She seemed to swim outside her skin in this race. She was tagging Katie Zaferis, and we saw it last year where Katie would actually swim away from her. So whatever she's learnt those 2.5 weeks, she's applied, and it worked wonders.
Whatever she's learned in the last 2.5 weeks, she needs to tell me.
Yeah, and me. I think Rachel's just come to her strengths throughout the year, and she's definitely improved each race that's come. So it's good to see Rachel out there, and she seems so happy now that she's racing well.
Yeah, she's here without Richard Murray, who, if you're just joining us, you're wondering where Richard Murray and Henry Schoeman, the South Africans, are. Henry's joining us in commentary a little later on because he's a little under the weather and has been since the Tokyo Test event, and Richard Murray the same.
I'm sure Richard's watching right now. He would have tuned in to see how Rachel was going, and Rich, maybe you shouldn't come because she's the good luck charm as you not being here.
No, come on, mate.
Come on, Rich, you need to come back.
We need you.
We need you back, Rich.
Especially in Malta, where you had a win last year in one of those races, and Rachel is fantastic up in the mountains of Malta as well. So she's going to be one to watch.
Definitely.
Without question, that course really suits her style of racing. She was magnificent on the bike yesterday. I think everything's fine for Rachel Klammer at the moment.
All right, we're going to head back down to Joe right now, and we'll just speak about Henry Schoeman. He's with Joe along with Graham Atchison.
Okay, yes, I've got Henry and Graham with me. I mean, that was quite a race, wasn't it? Obviously, a very different sort of race. Your thoughts, what are your initial impressions so far? Cassandra, she is just getting stronger and stronger at 22.
Yes, as expected, she's in a class of her own. But what was quite interesting is that how some of the athletes were opting to not run in their running shoes and saving themselves from that elimination. Baptista, her feet look really sore right now, but she saved herself and was able to carry on through the race.
Yeah, and I had a chat with Baptista afterwards. She said it really was a tactical decision. She knows that Super League is often about the tactics. Those choices can be the difference between getting eliminated or not. A smart decision, don't you think?
Yeah, very smart, very tactical. That's what Super League is about.
Excellent. Now, Graham, we had those predictions. How did they measure up with the end results?
Yeah, it was broadly as expected. I think, as you mentioned in the previous interview, removing the bike does remove that element of unpredictability. But Grant's running is just too strong really there, and she took it out from the first swim, and after that it was game over.
But it was interesting to see a number of the girls, well, Rachel and Cassandra, didn't take the short shoot. So Katie was actually making up that ground as it went along, wasn't she?
I thought he took the short shoot in the last lap actually, but Cassandra was too far ahead. She didn't need to use it. So I think it was actually, she was too far ahead.
And they missed it occasionally. Now, Henry, we've obviously got the boys coming up shortly. What are your thoughts on how this windy conditions might affect them?
Yeah, I think the men might handle it a little bit better. I feel like the wind is dropping just slightly, but it's still very gusty out there. It's going to be very tactical, I reckon. Hayden Wild is going to have to work very hard on his swim. Vincent Louis, I think, is going to have one on the rest. It's going to be an exciting race between the strong swimmers.
Okay, well, we are certainly looking forward to that. It's definitely still windy, maybe a little bit less. We'll have to see how the boys will do. Back to you, Will.
It is time now for our women's podium presentation. We have 3 extremely cold podium winners in Katie Zafiris, Rachel Klammer and Cassandra Beaugrand. And so it is time now for the first podium presentation of the season, the women's aquathon enduro here in Jersey.
Ladies and gentlemen, the presentation for the RBC Super League Triathlon Jersey Pro Women's Race. Please welcome the athletes to the podium. The trophies and checks will be presented by Jenny Stafford of Jersey Triathlon Club and David Bailey, COO of RBC Wealth Management. In third place, representing Netherlands, Rachel Klammer. Representing United States of America, Katie Zafiris. And in first place, your RBC Super League Triathlon Jersey champion, representing France, Cassandra Beaugrand. Ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation for our winners.
The champagne spray is still in the air and heading somewhere to the far south of Jersey, as is probably a couple of those big checks as well. But some worthy winners, and congratulations to Cassandra Beaugrand, to Katie Zafiris and to Rachel Klammer, who held on for third. Macca, they really braved those conditions and made it look a lot easier than what it was.
Without question, I don't know what was harder, them trying to hold the big checks on the on the podium there, or the actual event. But it was a very, very tough day. Cassandra Beaugrand again just showing her class and set that up in that first race with Katie having those problems in the swim, and was really, really unchallenged from that point on.
Yeah, she's really laid down a marker, Cassandra Beaugrand, for this time. I mean, we see already in the short history of Super League Triathlon, young athletes take each race and just improve, and Cassandra Beaugrand is certainly one of those.
Yeah, and it just shows these short races how important the transitions are, and just the smallest things like the swim exit for Katie cost her the race today. But yeah, it's the younger athletes, they have so much more energy, and Cassandra gave everything she has today.
Absolutely right, and Rachel Klammer is another one who seems to have just really hit a purple patch in form.
She said that in her interview. She tried a few different things, and we saw that in the swim, and her run's spectacular. I thought yesterday she was best on the bike, so I think we're going to see a lot of that progress in Malta. It is really cold. I never realised how cold it was. So am I. And full credit to the women getting out there and braving these conditions. There was a lot of talk before it about whether we should ride. It would have been impossible. So it was full credit to them for getting out there.
And just an update on the men's race. It looks like we're going to have the same format.
You couldn't ride in this. There's no way.
It's too dangerous. There's no point in risking it. And I think, they're just going to have to get on with it no matter what now.
All right, we're going to go head back to the jersey presentation because Cassandra Beaugrand is about to wear pink for the very first time, and Katie Zafiris is going to have to watch on. So we'll head back right now.
Women's competition being presented with the pink jersey as the 2019 Super League Triathlon Series leader is France's Cassandra Beaugrand. The jersey will be presented by Chief Operations Officer of RBC Wealth Management, David Bailey. And jersey, one more time, your appreciation for our Super League Triathlon Series leader in the pink jersey that she will carry through to Malta in 3 weeks' time, Cassandra Beaugrand.
And there you go, Cassandra Beaugrand is your championship leader. She picks up 15 points and $20,000 US. We hope you've enjoyed it out here today. I hope you've enjoyed it sitting at home in the nice warm weather. Macca, we're looking forward to not too long now till the men's.
Not too long till the men's race. It'll be very, very interesting again, and I can't wait to see it get underway. It's going to be a very different dynamic than what we're expecting.
Georgia, thank you so much for joining us as well. We've run out of time. We have to leave you there for now, but make sure you tune in for our men's race. It's going to take place at 4 p.m. British summertime. I say summertime very, very loosely, but we'll be back with some great racing not too long now.